Hi, I'm Ariel. You're watching She Wants the Diction, and today I'm going to be reviewing I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. The reason that I wanted to read this book to begin with is in light of Pride Month, I was trying to expand my understanding of the parts of the LGBTQ QA+ that don't get a lot of attention. The basic premise of this book is that a young teenager named Ben comes out as non-binary to their religious parents and is then immediately kicked out of the house. They are forced to call up their estranged sister out of desperation and end up living with her for the remainder of the new school year and having to start over at a new school. So this book essentially has three different plots going, and the first one is the main one of being kicked out of their house and dealing with the parents, and then the second one is sort of reconciling with the sister and also going to therapy for the anxiety disorder that they've developed. And then the third storyline is that they are a burgeoning artist and kind of working on their craft and honing it, and they are going to be appearing in the art show that is coming up at the end of their school year. And obviously along the way intertwined with this is a romance with a kid called Nathan. Now, one of the main reasons that I love this book is for the character of Nathan. It is so rare in fiction to see a queer black boy who is so carefree and joyful and caring as Nathan is. And I absolutely love his character. He's literally just a ray of sunshine, and there needs to be more carefree black boys and just queer black boys. Nathan is specifically bisexual, which as a bi person makes me super happy to just see that representation and for it to be handled really well. Everything about this book I think was handled really well. The thing that I probably love the most is the fact that the storyline with being kicked out, I mentioned this in my last video, but one of the reasons I was drawn to this story is because it's a little more serious than I feel like a lot of YA goes with their storylines. Being kicked out as a consequence is something that doesn't typically happen in YA novels. They like to keep it pretty light and fluffy, but I like how this story really went there with it. And Ben even tries to give their parents a second chance, but they're very abusive, and that's handled really well because Ben essentially has to cut off all contact with them, and they have a support system in place, which consists of their online friend who's basically a YouTuber, and then they have Nathan, who's obviously very supportive and very caring, and then the sister who's trying her best. So I thought that was great the way that they showed Ben has a support system around them, all these people that can kind of compensate for the lack of a family, and I just thought it was really realistic, and I like how they wrapped it up because a lot of people in our society, it's common for people to say that if someone is your family, that you should always stick by them no matter how they treat you, what they do to you. You should always try to reconcile and make up and forgive. And sometimes it's just not possible. Ben's parents were very abusive and made derogatory comments about the things that they chose to wear and the style of dress and the fact that their hair was getting longer. They were very unsupportive and negative about their identity, and that just really sucks. You should not have to tolerate that. And I'm just so glad that this book showed that you can have a family that's unsupportive and move on from that and thrive and prosper and just be successful in everything that you do. I absolutely love this book for that message. The only negative to this book, I think, is the fact that it took Nathan and Ben so long to get together. I was rushing towards the last part of the book to get to the scene where they finally consummated their relationship, if you want to call it that, because Nathan is kind of dropping hints to Ben throughout, and Ben doesn't really understand and can't really believe that someone would be interested in them. Yeah, I will say, I guess just a pacing issue towards the last third or so, and maybe some fleshing out of the minor characters could have helped a little bit because they weren't very memorable. And as far as trying to develop an understanding of what it feels like to be non-binary, I think the most impactful scene for me was where Ben's sister is taking them shopping and kind of heading over to the mail racks just automatically without really thinking about it. And Ben's heart is just kind of breaking, seeing all these female clothes and this nail polish and all this different stuff. And they're well, I'll have to add that to the list of things that I can never have and never do and never wear in public because I'm going to be ridiculed. And that just absolutely broke my heart. I feel like everyone should be free to wear and be who they are and Our society is so just like black and white. You're male or female, you're straight or gay. Like, I just hate that, because the people that fall into the gray areas, like me being bi or like Ben being non-binary, just get kind of passed over and not really noticed. And another thing I liked in this was that they talked about being like touch repulsed, like Ben doesn't really like to be hugged or touched or whatever. I thought that was a great discussion to include. Overall, I'd probably rate it 3 to 4 stars. And if we're just going with a simple yay or nay, I would definitely say yay. You should read this if you have any interest in reading a non-binary character or a romance that's a little different from the typical YA fare. It was an enjoyable read for me, and the author really got a lot of things right. If you guys have read this, please let me know what you think, if you have plans to read it. Next up on my list, I would like to read a book with an asexual main character so that I can get an idea of what that is like. That's it for me. I will see you guys next week with another video. Peace.